So today's learning objective is to give up some personal freedoms for the greater good of the people. Okay, do you know what freedoms mean?
Means that we can be free to do what we want.
Yeah, like whatever we want.
Whatever we want. Can you guys discuss a time or what you think freedom is between you two, you and your partner?
I think freedom is being able to say whatever we want when we want.
I believe freedom is doing whatever you want and giving and sharing.
Good. Okay, so our second learning objective is, okay, freedom, the power of right to act, speak, think, or do as one wants. So you were perfect on that one. Okay, our second objective is citizens participate in community discussion, decisions with different perspectives on the same issue. Okay, so do you know what participate means?
Participate means to be involved in something.
So to take part. So when you play sports, you participate or take part in sports.
Like in tennis.
Yeah, just like in tennis. Okay, do you know what perspective means?
Nope.
Okay, is a point of view. Perspective is a point of view. So from your perspective is from your point of view. Okay, so if you look at this picture right here, okay, this guy says he sees a 6.
And that one says it's a 9.
It's a 9. So from his perspective, the way he sees it, it's a 6.
And in his way, he sees a 9.
So his perspective.
So if they go to the both of the same side, they'll know that it's a 6 or a 9.
If he was over here, they would have the same perspective.
Yeah, they would know it was a 6.
Okay. And our last learning objective is all citizens have a responsibility to abide
by
and uphold laws. Okay, so do you know what responsibility means?
It means when you take care of people's things, you have to take good responsibility of taking care of them.
Yeah, that's right. So having a duty to deal with something or having control over someone. Okay. Do you know what abide by means? No? Well, let's take a look. You guys could discuss it. So abide means accept or act in a manner. Okay, so I said I would abide by their decisions. So if your mom says you have to abide by her rules, that's another way of saying you have to follow her rules. Do you guys want to share your guys' idea of abide together?
So if we're playing a game that you made up, I will abide by your rules. That means I will follow the rules that you make.
And if I abide at the grocery store that I have to be in charge of the list.
So that would be responsibility. But if you were at the grocery store, you have to abide by what the grocery store is telling you to do.
Very good. Perfect. All right, so you guys are going to listen to a really cool story called The Great Great Chicken Wars. Okay, so let's watch and listen.
She loves reading books all about chickens. So today we're Joyce Rosner and Jean De La Garza. By Anchorage Press. In the great, great, great chicken war, the rooster rode the rhino out the door, angry and eager to settle the score. Snakes joined the quest without asking why, hissing the rooster's shrill battle cry. The world was confused, for the fight lacked reason. Trees feared the worst and bore fruit out of season.
Okay, so do you get what's going on by up to this point? So they're going to fight two different sides. But reason means that they don't understand why they're doing it. Okay. So they're gonna have a fight or a war, but they don't know why.
Great, great chicken war. Rockets filled the sky with a deafening roar, crisscrossing a land where peace was no more. Velociraptors storm across the aisle, scorching the land for mile after mile. And in the deep ocean where sea creatures sing, silent octopus feared what the future would bring. In the great, great, great chicken war. The ocean seemed dark, not bright like before. Could the animals ever be happy once more? Then castaway pumpkins washed up on the sand, innocent victims in need of a hand. So elephants, chickens, snakes, and the others gave the pumpkins great love, like sisters and brothers. In the great, great, great chicken war. Now happy dragons broke rank by the score, ready to laugh and run and explore. Monsters lost interest in fighting the fight. The reason for fighting just didn't seem right. So sea creatures cavorted and splashed with great cheer, welcoming fun times instead of more fear. In the great, great, great chicken war. Birds trilled in the trees, glad nevermore. And the snails, now they feasted as much as they pleased. On apples, corn, carrots, peppers, and peas. So ended the great, great, great chicken war, and the world found itself at peace once more. The ends. We can go to Castaway Pump.
Okay, so do you know why they were at war, or why it's called the chicken war? Okay, so all the animals in there didn't understand why they were fighting, but everyone was too chicken to stand up and say, why are we fighting? Why can't we come to a conclusion? Okay, what happened after they started fighting? What did the animals get to do? They get to eat all they wanted, and the dragons got to have fun. Okay, so the meaning behind the story is conflict. Okay, war, fighting is conflict. Okay, when is a time that you were in conflict with something? When you had a different perspective, a different idea, when you were fighting with someone about wanting to do it one way and they wanted to do it another way. Why don't you guys discuss that real quick with your partner?
How about when you wanted to get 3 new shoes out of the car? Yeah.
That's counts as a conflict. That's good. Okay, so what was the conflict over in the story? We talked about that a couple seconds ago.
They conflict was them not knowing why they were fighting.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay. Was there need for conflict?
No.
No. Okay. The next thing we're talking about is resolution. Do you know what resolution means?
No.
Means ending something, coming to an end.
Perfect. Ending something. Okay. So if you have conflict, okay, which means what? Disagreement with someone, and then you have resolution, you solve your conflict. So conflict resolution. Okay. When is the time that you resolved a conflict? So if you were in conflict with your sister over who wanted to use the iPad, that would be a time that you were in conflict. And then how did you resolve that conflict?
We didn't fight over that iPad, and then we had more iPads, so one of us got that one, and one of us got to keep the iPad.
So really, you wanted to use the iPad, but it wasn't necessarily that particular iPad. You just both wanted to use one at the same time. So the way you resolved it is one of you took one iPad, the other took another. Okay, good job. So how could the characters in the story have resolved the conflict? So if you are fighting with your best friend over wanting to play a game, she wants to play this game, you want to play this game, how would you resolve that conflict? What's a way that you could come to an agreement where you guys could?
Well, maybe we can put that game together and we can make up the game that we both like.
Awesome.
Cat down.
Ow, don't scratch the
No,
knee.
she doesn't want to be. Okay, go.
Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is agreement. Okay, so when you have conflict with someone and you resolve that conflict, you come to an agreement, which means, what do you think agreement means?
We
Agree that we should do that thing.
Exactly, perfect. Okay, so harmony in opinion or feeling. Okay, so you guys come together and agree upon a way to do something. Okay, how can you come to an agreement with someone? Okay, so let's use a new example. Okay, let's say for dinner you want chicken. Okay, and your mom says no, we're going to have steak. Okay, you both really want one or the other. How do you come to an agreement on what to do for dinner?
We can talk about maybe having what the other one wants at another time.
So you could talk about your feelings. What's another thing you could do? Do you know what compromise means?
Maybe you can.
Do you know what compromise means? So compromise means maybe tonight you guys have steak and tomorrow you have chicken. So it may not be ideal for what you want, but you compromised in a way to where you both get what you want. Cool. Alright, so we're gonna watch a quick little video.
Enjoy this movie, then visit brainpop.com for much more. Hey Moby, have you seen my toothbrush? 10, 9, 8, 7. Hang on. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Dear Tim and Moby, my sister and I argue practically every day. What can I do to
Move past that. Alright, so what are we going to do next? Let's do it together. Read it together. We are going to complete an agreement
Start
stating a conflict. We know what a conflict is now, right? That we may have had with someone and resolve
that
the
conflict.
So we remember what resolve means, right? So we have a conflict with someone, and we're going to go over how to resolve it. Okay, so while doing this, okay, the conflict is going to be make-believe. So it's not going to be a real conflict. So you have to come up with something imaginary, right? Okay. The conflict is going to be with someone that is not in this class.
Mine is coming.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's going to be completely fake. She'll be out in 5 minutes. Okay, so when you complete your agreement, it's going to be a made-up agreement, and it's not going to be with anyone in the class because we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, right? So let's take a look. This is what you guys are going to be filling out. So in these blank spots, you're going to be filling in who you're in a conflict with, okay, what they are doing that upsets you, and what it is causing you, and then you're going to write it out. So let's take a look at what I did for my imaginary conflict, okay? So and this is going to be your name, so for me it's Mr. C. Find the following problem in room B12, that's our room. So I found a problem in our room. Okay, Tony's not in our classroom, right, because he's made up. So Tony is too loud. So that's my conflict. It's too loud.
Like, Tony is one of the students, and
No,
He's a made up student,
he's
right?
not in our
So,
classroom.
okay, so Tony is too loud, and by being too loud, it is causing me stress. Stressing me out because he's too loud. Okay, so then I'm going to write out what we can do to resolve the conflict. What's going to work for both of us, okay? So Tony will try to talk softer, and I will politely remind Tony when he talks too loud. So that's how we resolve the conflict of Tony being too loud. Okay? So we're going to finish the agreement like they do in the government, which we talked about yesterday. We have come to an agreement this day, which is April 30th, 2020. Together we have decided, and you're going to write that out again, what you guys came up with.
Okay.
Perfect? All right. So why don't you guys get with your partner? Okay, you each are going to do your own, but you guys are going to discuss as you go through how you're going to fill it out. Okay?